JinPingMei Original Version Chapter 73. Pan Jinlian remembers playing the flute without anger. And Simon Kingshan tries on the white silk belt. By the way, Earl Ying has gone home. Simon King was sitting in Zhongchenwu, watching the plasterers making the bricks. Burn a fire outside the wall and place flowers and plants so that the common people will not be exposed to said smoke. Suddenly, Ping'an brought in the post and reported. Master Zhou of the Commandery Mansion has sent someone to deliver the distribution package. There were 5 packages sealed in the box. Zhou Xiaobai, Jingdu Supervisor, Zhang Tuanlian, and Liu Zhu, the 2 internal ministers. Each person has 5 stars and 2 rough handkerchiefs to express his congratulations. Simon Kingling went to the back and took the reply and sent it away. Let's talk about that day. Miss Yang, Grandma Wu and Grandma Pan arrived first in a sedan chair. Then Aunt Zhu, Master, and Wang, 2 sisters-in-law, Maya Feng, and Sister Yu, all bought boxes and brought them with them. Yulu celebrates birthday. Yunyang was serving tea in the upper room, and all the sisters were accompanying her. After having tea for a while, everyone took their seats and sat down. Pan Jinlian thought about making a white silk ribbon with Simon King, so she walked into the room, took the sewing box, picked a piece of white silk, put the tincture in the magnetic box inside, and used a pouring needle around it. My son is very delicate in picking out the seams, preparing to celebrate the joy of clouds and rain with Simon that night. Unexpectedly, Ansu suddenly came into the room and gave him the medicine to treat fetal qi. The woman quickly took it away and sat with him. Seeing that there was no one around, Ansu handed it to him quietly and said, "Pick a Renzi who will be convinced every day. When he is with the officials in the evening, he will become a fetus after a while. Look at the great bodhisattva behind him too. The fetus that the poor monk installed for him is now half full. Let me tell you a trick. Sew a brocade sachet, put my calligraphy cinnabar talisman in it, and carry it with you. It will be a male fetus. I hope it will be tested." After hearing this, the woman was filled with joy, took the talisman medicine and hid it in the box. Looking at the calendar, the 29th is the Renzi day. So he weighed 3 coins and gave it to him, saying, "This is nothing. Take it home to buy food and eat it. When you are pregnant, I will find a piece of silk to make clothes for you." Ansu said, "Bodhisattva, stop worrying about it now. I am not as selfish as Monk Wang." Because the former Bodhisattva who passed away was chanting sutras, he said that I had helped his patrons to make trouble with me, and used words to kill me everywhere. My lord, let him fall into karma, and I will not argue with him. I only do good things for others and save people from suffering. The woman said, "Master Zhu, you only do your own thing. Everyone has different hearts and minds. Don't talk to him about my business." And Zhu said, "The Dharma is not taught to the 6 ears, but I am willing to tell him. Last year for the great Bodhisattva's happy event behind his back, he even said how much money I got behind his back. So I gave half of it to him, a monk who doesn't know the moral conduct and has a selfish mind seriously. I have received money and food from benefactors from all over the world. But if I don't practice meritorious deeds, I won't be able to pay back my hair and horns until I die tomorrow." After replying, the woman told Chanmai, "Watch tea and have it with Mr. Zhu." After having tea, the aunt went with him to Li Ping'er's place to drink the spirit, and then came back at noon after the appointment. Yunyang placed a table in the Kang room and invited all the guests and the 3 girls to sit on it. He also placed the 8 immortals table in the bright room, covered with a brazier, and placed wine on the table to celebrate his birthday with Meng Yu upstairs. After a while, the wine was filled with wine, and the jade was held high. Meng Yulu, dressed in pink makeup and jade, first handed the wine to Simon King, then greeted the sisters and sat down at the table. Chen Jingji and his eldest sister celebrated their birthdays with Yulu again. After the ceremony, they sat down next to them, replaced the longevity noodles and snacks in the kitchen and bring them out together. When everyone was having a drink, Lion put a box in and said, "Yinger Nying is here to send a favor." Simon King asked Yunyang to collect it, and asked Lion to say, "Send Yinger Nying a post, please Yinger Nying. Dad and uncle are here to sit down." I know that his wife will not come tomorrow. Please ask your second father to come over and sit down. We can return the favor and be with him another day. Come to and to get Tier to go with Ying Bao. Sitting on it, Simon King remembered that last year there was sisterly on the birthday of Yulu. Today, he is the only one missing from his 5 wives and concubines. He couldn't help but feel sad in his heart and shed tears in his eyes. After a while, Li Ming and 2 little Yuer came in. Yun Yang asked, "Can you sing Bai Yi Chang Lian Li?" Hans Wo Dao, I remember, little one. Just when he picked up the instrument to play and sing, Simon King called him closer and said, "You sing a set of Yi Kua Shao, let me listen." The 2 young actors quickly changed the tune and sang Ji's Yan Bin. I remember playing the flute. Where is the beauty? After singing for a while, they sang He Took Off My Hunan Skirt and Put Blood on the Azaleas. When Pan Jinlian saw this word being sung, she knew that Simon King missed Li Pinger. When he sang this line, he deliberately put his hands on his face at the banquet, a little bit to embarrass him, and said, "My child, there Zhu Baji is walking and sitting in the cold bunk. Why are you so ugly? How can a post-married wife, not a daughter, come to ask for blood on azaleas? What a shameless peddler," Simon King said. "It's weird, slave. Just listen to the song. I don't know anything. Just worry about it. The branches are tearing off the leaves." I saw 2 young actors singing again. A prime minister has a beautiful girl in his house, and suddenly he stabs her and throws her away. How can I follow the evil and break off the wallflowers again? Simon King just cared about it. Keep your head down and listen carefully. After singing for a moment, Pan Jinlian was no longer angry with him, and the 2 just started bickering at the table. Yun Yang was a little disdainful and said, "Sixth sister, you are too impatient. Why are the 2 of you just trying to be strong? And Young and his eldest daughter-in-law are left in the house, deserted, and no one is with them. You can go in with 2 of them. Sit down and I'll come." Jinlian and Li Jiar then went to the room. After a while, Lion came in and said, "Yinger Nying's post has been delivered. When the second father is here, the uncle will come." Simon King said, "Please invite Master Wen to come and sit down," because he said to Yun Yang, "Instruct the cook to bring out the dishes, and I will sit in front with him." He also called Li Ming. "You go ahead and sing. Come on." Li Ming followed Simon King out and went to the west wing to sit with the Earl. He also thanked him for his kindness and said, "Please order me to come and take a walk tomorrow." The Earl said, he's afraid he won't be able to come because there's no one at home. After a long time, when Shu Kai arrived and bowed to sit down, the Earl raised his hand and said, "There are many tired old gentlemen in the morning." When Shu Kai said, "How dare you?" Uncle Wu also arrived. After giving up his seat, a boy with a piano came and held a candle, and the 4 of them sat down around the stove. "Come to Anna and put the Chunsheng wine on the table." Under the lamp, the Earl saw Simon King's white silk coat covered with a green satin multicolored flying fish python, with teeth and claws, a majestic head and horns, a beard and a mane covered with gold and green, coiled on his body. He jumped and asked, "Brother, where did this dress come from?" Simon King stood up and said with a smile, "Every time you look at it." "Where do you guess it comes from?" The Count said. "How can I guess it?" Simon King said, "Where is this in Tokyo?" The eunuch gave it to me. I was having a drink at his house, and he took out this piece of clothing to wear with me because I felt cold. This is Faiyu, because the court also gave him a python dragon jade belt. He didn't want to wear this piece, so he gave it to me. This is a big score, the Earl boasted. This flowery dress is worth a few dollars at least. This is a harbinger for me. Tomorrow I will be promoted to the governor, and I will worry about not having a jade belt and python robe. What's more, flying fish, I'm afraid it will go across the border. As he said that, the piano boy placed the bell and chopsticks and brought the wine. Li Ming played and sang in front of him. The Earl said, "It's better to go in and pass a glass of wine to the 3rd sister-in-law. How about eating wine?" Simon King said, "My son, since you have a filial heart, just scout out to the 3rd sister-in-law behind and say what's wrong with him." The Earl said, "It doesn't matter if I kowtow. I'm afraid it will make people think I'm being disrespectful." So why don't you kowtow for me instead? Simon King hit him on the head and cursed. You're such a talented bitch. You can't do anything on your own. The Earl said, it's too big to teach the children to fight. The two joked about it for a while. The piano boy brought the longevity noodles, and Simon King let the three of him eat. Since he was eating at the back, he gave it to Li Ming to eat. After Li Ming ate, he came out to play and sing again. The Earl called Uncle Wu. Tell him to sing the song, the uncle said. Don't ask him to sing. Let him sing what he knows, Simon King said. Uncle likes wappener. While asking the piano boy to pour the wine, Li Ming arranged the zither on the wild goose pillars, set the strings on the ice, sang a set of making people speechless in front of the scene, and losing their beauty all day long, and went downstairs. I saw Lion come up and report. Let's go to the cook's house, please tell me. Dad, how many of you will be asked to agree tomorrow? Simon King ordered 6 cooks, 2 tea and wine servants, and a total of 5 tables for the wine banquet. All must be ready. Come to Anying Nuo. Uncle Wu then asked, who will my brother-in-law invite tomorrow? Simon Qingshi told Mr. N that he would invite Magistrate Kaiju. Uncle Wu said, since the General Patrol will have a drink at my brother-in-law's place tomorrow, it will be fine again. Simon King said, what do you mean? Uncle Wu said, it is still my matter of repairing the warehouse. It must be in the hands of the General Patrol. Regarding the question book, I hope my brother-in-law will talk about it tomorrow and teach him a bright eye. When he completes the exam at the end of the year, he will recommend 1 or 2. Which is the brother-in-law's affection? Simon King said, it doesn't matter. My uncle will write a resume tomorrow. Let me tell him when I can. The uncle hurriedly came down to pay his respects. The Earl said, Uncle, don't worry. You are the master of Duggan. If I don't speak for you, who will speak for you? You can't brag about the situation, and you can go up the pile with just 1 arrow. It was the second watch of the drinking in front. After they were separated, Simon King sent Li Ming and others out and said, come and wait for me early tomorrow. Li Ming and others accepted the promise. The boy took the guy in, and the upper room was crowded with people. When they heard the people in front of them dispersed, they all went to that room. But Jin Lian only said to go to his room, and was too panicked to go out. Not wanting Simon King to enter the Yemen, he hid in the shadows beside the screen wall. Watched Simon King enter the upper room, and quietly came to the window to listen. I saw Yu Xiao standing at the door of the main room, saying, why doesn't Wu Nian go in? Then asked, why is Grandma missing? Jin Lian said, old traitor. He went to sleep in the room because of the pain in his body. After a long time, I heard Yun Yang ask, why did you call the 2 new little bastards today? You can't sing. You just do 3 plum blossoms. Yulu said, only you can teach them. Sing Yuan Yang Pu lotus blooms, and he listened to you. There are 2 cunning little bastards. I don't know their names. They're just being naughty here. Simon King said, one is called Hanzuo, and the other is Xiao Zhen. Yun Yang said, who knows what his name is, Keen or liar? Unexpectedly, Jin Lian sneaked in, stood behind Nuaner, and suddenly said, ask him. The serious sister ordered Kor not to call him singing. Ping Bai was trying to teach him how to sing Yi Kua Shao, and the little bastard was confused and didn't know which one to follow. Yulu made a sound, turned around and saw Jin Lian, and said, this Liu girl, where are you coming from? The words Menk said made me jump. Shanai is a ghost. How often have you walked behind me? Xiao Yu said, Fief Niang is behind Sanyang. Okay, one last time. Jin Lian nodded and said to Simon, brother, you are just a bit poosy. Your little knowledge is just that people don't know. What kind of pregnant girl in the Prime Minister's house is he? He and I are both ordinary. Wife from a later marriage. Why did he take off the Hunan skirt and bleed the azaleas for you? And 3 officials sang 2 songs. Who came to see him? Sun Xiaoguanair asked Juji. Nothing else. I dare not allow this. But you are right, people say that since he died, there hasn't been a plate of delicious food. Without Wang Tu, we will eat pigs with their hair. Are you eating shit every day? We are not the ones who count, but that's not what you want. A big sister who is in charge of the family and establishes discipline can't support you. Kecker is just for his own good. Why didn't you hold on to him when he died? How did you come here when he didn't come? Nowadays, all kinds of things cannot be said to be worthy of your heart. When you mention him, it hurts your heart very much. If you treat others as him and take advantage of him, you will also like him. Only his is the water in the house delicious. Yoon said, my dear sixth sister. As the saying goes, good people don't live long, and disasters last 1,000 years. Since ancient times, if the lathe is not round, it will be round. You and I are late and cannot match him. Just let him say whatever he wants. Jinlian said, it's not that we don't talk about him, but what he said will make people sad. It's just that people can't be angry with him. Simon King just laughed and cursed. It's a little pervert. Wife, you are talking nonsense. Where can I say this? Jinlian said, on the day when Huang Naiguan was invited, you didn't tell Yinger and Wen Manzi. No wonder your wife is dead. It wasn't a big deal when he was here. Tomorrow, I can help another one up and fight with him. A thief has no shame to spread his roots, said Simon King, who was anxious, jumped up, and hurriedly kicked with his boots. He and the woman grabbed the door and ran away. Simon King rushed out without seeing him. He saw Chanmei standing at the door of the upper room, so he put his hand on Chanmei's shoulder and walked forward. Seeing that he was drunk, Yoon was eager to send him to sleep in front of him to listen to the announcement of the book by the three girls. So he taught Xiao Yu how to make a lantern and sent him to the front. Jinlian and Yuxiao stood in the shadows under the corridor. Simon King didn't see them and walked over. Yu Xiao said to Jinlian, I guess Dad went to his mother's house to take care of things. Jinlian said, he is drunk and wants to start a conversation. Let him sleep first while I slowly go in. Yu Xiao then said, Mom, wait a minute. I'll get some fruits and take them to Grandma to eat. So he walked to the bedroom, took some fruits and handed them to the woman. The woman took them up her sleeves and walked straight in front of him. I saw Xiao Yu send it back and said, where is Wu Niang coming from? Dad is not looking for Wu Niang. Jinlian went to the door of the room but did not go in. She quietly looked in the window and saw Simon King sitting on the bed. Put your arms round Chanmei and play, afraid of disturbing him. He quickly walked to the room over there and handed the fruit to Qiu, because he asked, Grandma, have you slept? Qiu said, I have slept for a long time. Jinlian asked him, the fruit should be collected in the bag, then came back. I saw Yoon, Li Jiar, Meng Yulu, Sister Simon, Da Jinzi, Miss Young, 3 sisters-in-law and 2 younger sisters-in-law, sitting in the same room. Ansu then sat cross-legged on the Yoon Kang, with a Kang table in the middle and burning incense. Everyone gathered round him to listen to him preach the Dharma. Jin Liang Xiao opened the curtain and came in. Yoon said, you caused trouble. He went to the house to look for you. If you didn't send him to sleep, why did he come again? I was worried that he would come to the house to beat you. Jin Liang smiled and said, you ask him if he dares to hit me. Yoon said, you are so tight-lipped in your words. He is a drunk person, and he is so excited that he can't beat a dog if he doesn't hit you. I sweat a lot every time for you. It turns out that you are such a scoundrel. Jin Liang said, he is annoyed. I am not afraid of him. I look down on what those third-rate children do. I don't teach the music that my serious sister ordered me to do. Sing, Pa the East Stitch and Harrow the West Stitch, and sing what is on his mind. Even today, in the good days of third sister Meng, it is not appropriate to sing these words of farewell. People don't know where they go after they die. But there are those who pretend to be compassionate and filial. I don't like it. Da Jinzi said, every time your sisters make a mess, I still don't know why they come here. My uncle came in and sat down. Well, why did he go out again? Yoon said, Da Jinzi, you still don't know, because he thought of Sister Li, saying that he was there for Sister Meng's birthday last year, but not this year. She shed a few tears and taught little Yaoer to sing a set of Yi Bao Shao. Beautiful lady, the sun is nowhere to be found. This person was not angry that he sang these words and had just robbed his father of a few words. The one who robbed him was anxious and kicked and beat the thief, and the thief laughed. Miss Young said, my sister, you are just following the officials to teach him how to sing. And why are you stealing from him? I must be happy every time I see my sister. Today, only the Li sister is missing. Why isn't this man feeling sad? Meng Yulu said, Good grandma, if it were me every time, who would blame him for singing? I, the sixth sister, have always known the taste of the music. Seeing that Sister Li who boasts to death is not as good as the ancient one, so why are the two of them so different? We have a close friendship, so why do we have an oath to each other? You are for me, and I am for you. This old man is not convinced. He just uses words to rob him, and the whole relationship has been chaotic for half a day. Miss Young said, My sister, it turns out that this wait until you are smart. Yoon Young said, He doesn't know any music, but when you mention the beginning, you will know the end. Like every time I call my singing wife and my little girl to come, I just sing them out. But he said again that part was not sung. That line was sung poorly, and that verse was too late. But when his father said a song, it was a waste of time and he had to get over it. Meng Yulu joked from the side, Auntie, you don't know. This girl is the only one left of my third and fourth fetus. She is so eccentric. Jin Lian smiled and slapped him and said, I'm here to fight for you, but you've lost your behavior. Miss Young said, Sister, from now on, just let the officials say a word. As the saying goes, 1 night for a husband and 100 nights of kindness. A good relationship will last forever. Following 100 steps also has the meaning of wandering. A hot-tempered person, as if one of his fingers is missing. Is there something that he doesn't want to worry about without pain or thoughts? Jin Lian said, No matter how much you think about it, there is always time. Generally speaking, she's your wife. What are you doing to destroy the other? He's just angry that we don't wear mourning for him. He's not a mother-in-law. He only wears Duanqi casually. How long does it take to wear it? Miss Young said, Sister, every time I see half of the child, I don't see the other half. Come on, Da Jinzi said. How fast? The 7th day has passed. And this time it has come 100 days earlier, Miss Young asked. When is the 100 days? Yoon Young said, It's early, it's the 26th of the 12th lunar month. And Wang said, I must recite a sutra. Yoon Young said, Since the new year is approaching, what sutra should I recite? His father has no choice but to recite the sutra during the new year. After saying that, Xiao Yu brought a dish of tea, 1 cup per person, finished eating in a moment. Yoon Young washed her hands, burned incense in the stove, and listened to Ansu's lecture on Buddhism. Ansu first recited a verse and told a Buddhist dharma in which Zen Master Wuji broke his precepts and played with the Red Lotus girl and was reincarnated as Dongpo Buddha seal after talking for a long time. I saw the fragrance of orchids in the Jade building, brought to square boxes of delicate vegetable and fruit plates. Tea and snacks, put away the incense burner and placed it on the table. There was another pot of tea, and everyone ate with the 3 masters. Then they brought meat and rice, opened a jar of maga wine, and everyone gathered round the stove to drink. Yoon Young and the eldest concubine competed for the glory. Jin Lian guessed with Li Zhaoer. Yuxia was pouring wine beside her, so she played the rotor under the table for Jin Lian. In an instant, Li Jiar won several cups. Yulu said, Wait for me to guess with you. You just want to beat him. But he asked Jin Lian to take out his hand and not let it fall into his sleeve, and he didn't allow Yuxiao to come near. He defeated Jin Lian several times in a row. Jin Lian couldn't sit still and went away. After calling for a long time, the corner door opened and Qiu Ju was seen rubbing her eyes. The woman scolded, Thief slave, are you sleeping? Qiu Ju said, I didn't sleep. The woman said, When you wake up, you coax me. When you are comfortable, don't say you will come to pick me up. Yin asked, Is your father sleeping? Qiu Ju said, Dad has been sleeping all day. The woman walked to the Kang room, picked up her skirt and warmed herself on the Kang. The woman asked for tea, and Qiu Ju quickly poured a cup of tea over her. The woman said, You slave, I need to keep my hands clean. I won't eat this old tea. It tastes weird. You call Changmei and ask him to get Xiao Chuer to drink some good sweet water tea and get more tea leaves. I'll eat the delicious meal. Qiu Ju said, He's sleeping in the bedroom over there until I call him. The woman said, Don't call him. Just teach him to sleep. This Kyuju said no. I walked into the room over there and saw JinPingMei sleeping peacefully at Simon King's feet. He shook her awake and said, "Mother is here and wants to have tea. Why don't you get up yet?" JinPingMei spat at him and cursed. "Damn slave, mother is just here. You are just trying to bully me and stab me." "Yes." As he got up, he bowed slowly, pulled down his pants and came to see the woman. He just leaned on the bed and rubbed his eyes. The woman scolded Kyuju in return. "Slave, you were sleeping so sweetly, I woke you up." She called him. "The sweat towel on your head jumped up, and you didn't pull it down." Then he asked, "How come you only have one pendant on your ear?" JinPingMei touched it, and sure enough, there was only one pendant. Then he lit a lamp and looked for the bed over there, but he couldn't find it. For a long time, I didn't want to fall on the pedal, so I picked it up. The woman asked, "Where are you coming from?" JinPingMei said, "It was because he woke me up in surprise and caught me with the hook of the tent, so I picked it up on the pedal." The woman said, "I was waiting to talk." "He only thought of calling you," JinPingMei said. "He said that mother wanted tea." The woman said, "I want to have some tea, because I think his hands are not clean." JinPingMei quickly scooped it up. He put a small amount of water on the fire, and put some charcoal in the fire, and in a moment he made tea soup, cleaned the cup, apply it thickly, and hand it to the woman. The woman asked JinPingMei, "How long has your father been sleeping for?" JinPingMei said, "I spent the whole day sleeping. When I asked my mother, I said she is behind and she is not here yet." The woman ate her tea. Because he asked JinPingMei, "I have some fruits and preserves in my pocket. They were eaten by Yuxiao and your grandma. I gave them to the slave to take them in. Did you accept them?" JinPingMei said, "I didn't see them. He knew how to let them go. Where are they?" The woman called Kyuju and asked him where the oranges were. Kyuju said, "I put them in the bag." When she went to get them, the woman counted them and found that one orange was missing. She asked him where they were. Kyuju said, "I brought it in and put it in the dressing room. He is a glutton and has a stutter." The woman said, "You are a thief's slave and you talk too much. If you don't steal, where are you going? I personally counted the things I handed over to you, but why is there one missing? It turns out I was only filial to you." JinPingMei said, "You and I will slap that slave 10 times on one side of his face." JinPingMei said, "That U.S.'n face is so dirty that my hands are dirty." The woman said, "You and I pull him over." JinPingMei pushed her chin to the woman with both hands. The woman pinched his cheek with her hand and cursed, "Thief slave, you ate this orange secretly, didn't you? If you tell the truth, I won't beat you. Otherwise, get a riding crop and I'll peel it off. You can't count." "Am I drunk? You ate it secretly and fooled me all the way." Yin asked JinPingMei, "Am I drunk?" JinPingMei said, "I'm sober. Why don't you ask for a drink? If you don't believe me, I just picked out his sleeves. I'm afraid there are still orange peels in the sleeves." The woman then pulled his sleeves and dug out with her hands. Kyuju hurriedly held her hands aside and refused to pull out. JinPingMei held up her hand and took out some orange peels. The woman tried her best to pinch her face twice, hit her mouth twice, and cursed, "Thief slave, you are not good at all things, but you are good at talking and stealing. Seize the real culprit. Why don't you steal? Which one do you rely on? I won't hit you now before tea or after drinking. When I wake up tomorrow, I can settle accounts with you." JinPingMei said, "Mother, don't go out with him until tomorrow. It's easy to get screwed. Ask someone to beat him with dozens of blows, and ask him to endure the pain and be more afraid. He doesn't care about those sticks that tease monkeys like soup." Kyuju was pinched by the woman, swelling. Guju went to the kitchen with his mouth shut. The woman divided the orange in half, took a pink pomegranate, handed it to JinPingMei, and said, "Eat this one with you, and save that one for grandma." She didn't even look at the JinPingMei, but took it over as if she were there. "None, just in the drawer." The woman also wanted to separate the candied fruits. JinPingMei said, "Mom, don't divide them. I'm too lazy to eat this sweet stuff. Let's keep it with grandma." So the woman didn't divide it and kept them all. The woman went to the bucket to relieve herself, and asked JinPingMei to put it in the bucket. After bathing her mother, she asked JinPingMei, "How long does it take for us to have a day?" Chunmei said, after sleeping for half a day, there are still 3 days. More time. The woman took off her hair and came to the bedroom over there. She saw that the silver lamp on the table was broken, so she picked it up again. She looked towards the bed and saw Simon King sleeping snoringly. So he untied his belt, took off his Hunan skirt, got into bed, got under the quilt, and lay down next to Simon King. Not long after he fell asleep, he touched his waist and said that, I did it once, but I can't afford it. It turns out that Simon King and Chunmei had just made love, so his words were soft and too eager to be manipulated. The woman had wine in her belly and was burning with desire. She squatted under the quilt and sucked the words in her mouth, playing with the frog's mouth, swallowing the glands, and just keep coming and going. Simon King woke up suddenly and said, You little whore, why did we come here? The woman said, Every time I eat wine in the back, Ming San arranges to large square boxes of wine and food. Sister Yu sings, I every time I guessed and rolled the dice. I was stubborn for another day. I won Li Gr and got drunk. After Meng Saner, and I guessed 3 times, I lost for several minutes. You are really cheap, so sleep on it. My son is here to make me happy. Do you think I depend on you or not? Simon King said. Have you adjusted the belt? The woman said, It's under the mattress, isn't it? She reached out and took it out, looked at it with Simon King, and helped him tie it under the root of the stalk. Tie it round your waist, and tie it tightly. He asked again, Have you eaten? Simon King said, I have. After a while, the eating woman started talking, and she saw the extravagance of her head jumping. And she straightened up and felt half an inch more comfortable than usual, more than enough. The woman climbed on top of her glance was high, and she was fanning her penis with both hands as she pushed it inside. After a moment of thrusting into the female body, the woman put her hands round Simon King's neck and made Simon King hug his waist as well. She just rubbed him, but her words gradually disappeared. The woman called Simon King, Dada, take my waistband and put it under your waist. Then Simon Singh took his big red satin tube top from the bedside, folded it up, and put it on his waist. The horse is lying on the body. Rub it a few times, and all the words will sink in. The woman said, Dada, touch it with your hand and you'll find that it's all in. It's full. Are you comfortable? Simon King touched it with his hand and saw that it was all down to the root. There was no space left, and only 2 were left. The egg is outside, and my heart feels so peaceful and beautiful that it is indescribable. The woman said, I'm so anxious. It's just that it's cold. We can't use a lamp to illuminate the work because we can't catch up with summer. She asked Simon King and said, Is this belt better than that silver holder? I'm an unqualified yin disciple. It hurts, but it will grow again. If you don't believe it, touch my belly, it will go to your heart. He then said, Hold me, and wait for me to fall asleep on you. Simon King said, My son, sleep with Dada in your arms. The woman put her tongue in his mouth, and held it in his mouth, her eyes dim and starry, and she hugged her shoulders. After a short sleep, I couldn't help but feel the burning desire in my body and my heart was roused, so I put my hands on his shoulders, raised and sat up, pumped him all the way to the head, then sent it back to the root, and shouted, Kiss your heart and liver. That's all, it's Lior's heart. I drew papers back and forth, another 300 times. When the semen came out, the woman just shouted, My dear Dada, please tighten your waist. While teaching Simon King to suck her nipples, she suddenly fell into a coma. The semen overflowed, and the woman's heart felt like a deer jump. Immediately, my limbs felt sleepy and limp, and the fragrant clouds stirred me up. The words were still as strong as before when they were pulled out. The woman wiped them with a handkerchief and said, My Dada, what's wrong with you? Simon King said, We'll play again when we get some sleep. The woman said, My body is paralyzed by the heat. At that moment, the clouds had cleared and the rain had dispersed. The 2 of them were lying side by side on the bed with pillows on each other, unaware of the whiteness of the east. Exactly, take a photo of yourself in a silver vat and you will see a couple born to be married.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next?
Let's listen to the breakdown next time.